गीतामृतं ददौ कुर्वं गीतामृतं ददौ लोकत्र उपकार्य तस्मै कृष्णात्मने नमः। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय।
Bhagavad-gita ki jai.
Okay, so which verse were we doing last week? 1.26. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes. Yeah. So we will start reading 1.26. I'll share my screen. Can you see the verse? Okay. Please repeat after me. Tatra pashyat
तत्र पश्यत्
Pashyat
स्थितान्
chitan
स्थितान्
पार्थः
partha
पार्थ
पितॄन्
pitran
पितरन्
अथ
अथ
पितामहान्
pitama
पितामहान्
आचार्यान्
acharya
आचार्यान्
मातुलान्
मातुलान्
भ्रातॄन्
भ्रातॄन्
पुत्रान्
पुत्रान्
पौत्रान्
पौत्रान्
सखींस्
सखींस्
तथा
तथा
श्वशुरान्
श्वशुरान्
सुहृदाश्च
सुहृदाश्च
चैव
चैव
सेनयोर
सेनयोर्
उभयोरपि.
उभयोरपि
We'll do a little faster now, line by line. तत्रा
तत्रान्
पश्यत्
पश्चात्
स्थितान् पार्थः
तत्र पश्चात् स्थितान् पार्थ
पितॄन्नथ पितामहान्
पितॄन्नथ पितामहान्
आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन्
आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन्
पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा
पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा
श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव
श्वशुरान् शूरश्चैव
सेनयोरुभयोरपि.
सेनयोरुभयोरपि
तत्रापश्यत् स्थितान् पार्थः
तत्र पश्चात् स्थितान् पार्थ
पितॄन्नथः प्रतामहान्
पितॄन्नथ पितामहान्
आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन्
आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन्
पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा
पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा
श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव
श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव
सेनयोरुभयोरपि.
सेनयोरुभयोरपि
तत्रापश्यत् स्थितान् पार्थः
तत्र पश्चात् स्थितान् पार्थः
पितॄन्नथः पितामहान्
पितॄन्नथ पितामहान्
आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन्
आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन्
पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा
पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा
श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव
श्वशुरान् शूरश्चैव
सेनयोरुभयोरपि. There Arjun could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers in law and well wishers. So we will see Who are they? So tatra pashyat sthitan partha. It means there, standing. So sthitan means situated. So tatra pashyat, where he was situated? He was situated in the midst of the two armies, as requested to Krishna. So this is the fifth time you'll see pashyat. So there he could see, situated in the middle of the armies. This is the fifth time the word seeing is coming. Can someone tell me the first verse where it was the first occurrence of the word seeing, to view? Which verse was that? Yes? First occurrence of the word seeing in the last few verses. So this is the fifth occurrence, as um, I can tell. But can you point me to the verse where the first occurrence of the word seeing was started? Yes, anyone? You can flip through the pages, you can flip through the verses and see. I can tell you it is not older than 7 verses from here. That's the clue. Yes, anyone?
Verse 23,
Okay.
1.23. Let me
What
see.
what is the verse? So
Arjun
what
says, "Let me see who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra."
okay. What is the word in Sanskrit which is used to see?
Uh,
I think it says awake is
Avekshe.
awake.
Is there anything before that?
Yes, Prabhuji. I think it is 21, 22 Nirikshe.
Very nice. Good. Was that Rishi, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first occurrence of that word is nirikshe. Nirikshe is seeing. So that is in 21 and 22. First occurrence. When is the second occurrence, which was correctly said by Abhijit? Second occurrence was 23, which was, what is the word? So first was nirikshe. Second
Avekshe.
one was
Avikshe.
avekshe. Okay. Who can tell me the third one? Yes.
25
Third. Very
Pashya
good. Very good. Pashetam.
Pashyatam.
Pashetan, just behold, just see. So that is 25. Yeah. So who's telling who? Krishna's telling Arjun, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Just see. So this is the third occurrence. When is the fourth occurrence?
The next verse only.
Yes.
Apashat. Tatra
Yeah. So
Shat.
is it
There
the
see.
fifth or the fourth occurrence?
Fourth.
Good. Yeah. So you can question me. You can challenge me. Don't. It's an open discussion. Okay. It is an interactive one. So if I say five, don't accept it as five. This is what I wanted to tell you. So if you read Bhagavad Gita, please, be interactive and tell me. It's an open discussion. This is a book club. This is not, a teacher. student session. So please be open and discuss freely. No problem. Yeah. So this is the fourth occurrence, yeah, of the word see. All right. So what he was seeing there, he was seeing Pitran, Atah Pitamahan. So he was seeing fathers as well as grandfathers. So fathers, who are the father-like figures? Who all were there? So one we discussed was Shalya, which is on the father's lineage. Shalya was the Shalya. Who was Shalya? Right. So Kalpesh just answered. He was the maternal uncle. Oh, okay. That's fine. So Kalpesh is saying from here because I'm here with him. So he's saying he was the maternal uncle of the Pandavas, which is correct. Nakul and Sahadev's maternal uncle, Shalya. So Madri was his sister. Madri was the mother of Nakul and Sahadev, biological mother of Nakul and Sahadev, but a um, stepmother for the other Pandavas. So he was the maternal uncle. So he also fulfills one more name here, which is Matulan. Matulan Bhartran. So Matulan maternal side. So he was also from the maternal side, but he was not a Bhartran. Okay. So he was the father side. So father's lineage was Pitamahan. So you have grandfather side also. So we discussed last time. So there were on the father's um, fathers and grandfathers also. Who was the grandfather's level person there, which you could see?
Bhishma.
Yes, Bhishma was on the opposite side. Yes, grandfathers. Anyone else who was on the um, father's, sorry, grandfather's lineage, grandfather's level? Yes.
Can we say Dronacharya?
So Dronacharya was here. It will here it
Same.
is. See, it is Dronacharya is
Acharya.
Acharya. So he's coming next.
Okay.
But
Okay.
on
Sir, Somnath.
Pitamahan, Somadatta. Very good, Abhijit. Yeah, Somadatta. So the lineage of Somadatta was the son of Bhurishrava.
Burish.
Sorry. My bad.
Burisharava was the
Bhurishrava was the son of Somadatta, and Somadatta was the son of Bahalika.
Bahalika.
So
Bahalika.
Bahalika was, who was Bahalika? We discussed this. Bahalika was the elder brother of Shantanu.
Shantanu.
Everyone knows who's Shantanu? Who was Shantanu?
Bhishma's father.
Correct. Okay. So I want others also to participate. That's okay. Well done, Abhijit. Thanks. But others also, please recollect what we have discussed. So, who was Bahalika?
Sister of Shantanu.
No, Bahalika was the brother of
Brother of
Shantanu.
Shantanu.
Older brother of
He was
Shantanu.
the male. Bahalika, elder brother of Shantanu was Bahalika. Bahalika's son was Somadatta,
Brother.
and Somadatta's son was Bhurishrava.
Purishrava.
Okay. So Bhurishrava was the father-like figure. Somadatta was the grandfather-like figure for
Arjun.
Arjun.
Yeah.
Because Shantanu was great grandfather.
Yeah.
Correct. So Bahalika was great grandfather. He was also fighting. Somadatta was also fighting. And then third one, who was third? Bahalika, Somadatta, and Bhurishrava. Bhurishrava was also fighting. Yeah. So Bhurishrava was like the father's level. Somadatta was the grandfather. Bahalika was the great grandfather. Now the question comes: why were they fighting against Pandu? They were fighting against Pandavas. They were fighting for Duryodhan. So if you see the lineage, this is Kuru dynasty. They all are Kurus. Even Arjun is a Kuru. So, but the reason we just address them as Kauravas and say they are Kauravas, but these are also Kurus. They are also from the Kuru dynasty. But just to separate them from Duryodhan, we call them Pandavas. Does it make sense? So they are also
Sir,
Kurus. Yeah.
sir, was that done by Dhritarashtra himself in the
No, no,
first
it
way?
is the addressing. I mean, Dhritarashtra, of course, has that verse in the beginning, the first verse, which says that what were the sons of Pandavas in doing. So it does say, it does give the the attitude of Dhritarashtra, that he considers him as different from that. But they are all Kuru dynasty. So if you look at it, Bahlika was also son of Shantanu. Sorry, Bahlika was also the elder brother of Shantanu. So Shantanu's lineage and Bahlika's lineage, they're all coming from Kuru dynasty. So Bahalika's son, this, all, and Shantanu's son Bhishma and all that. So so it's by choice who is to fight where. It is nothing to do with the relationships here. They're all relatives. They're all relatives fighting with each other. But who's fighting on which side is your choice. So that is again your Ichha Shakti. That is the free will we spoke about. So it's your free will whom you want to fight against, right or wrong. There is no right or wrong as such. What you feel, what you experience, what is your buddhi telling you, that's the way they were fighting. They were by choice. That is what I was trying to say. There was no compulsion. So Bhalika, Somadatta, and Bhurishtava, they were fighting for Duryodhan. So Arjun could see on the opposite side all these grandfathers and great grandfathers. And then we have Acharyan. Who were the Acharyas? Acharya, one was Drona Acharya, and there was one more, Kripacharya. Yeah, so Kalpesh just said Kripacharya. So Kripacharya was also their teacher. He was not. He was like a visiting faculty, in the Gurukula. He was not the mainstream faculty as we call it in today's times. He was not a mainstream faculty. He was Drona Acharya, but Kripacharya was the visiting one. So he would go off and on. So he was also the Acharya. So he was also fighting for Duryodhan. Then Matulan Bharatan from maternal side, Bhartaran. Okay, so maternal side you have sons of the Shalya and everyone. They were also supporting them. So they, because Shalya was fighting for Duryodhan, they were also against them. Then we have Matulan Bharatan. Then you have Putran. Putran means someone of the son's age. So Duryodhan also had sons. Yeah, Arjun also had son. So everyone knows Arjun's son, right? Who's Arjun's son?
Abhimanyu.
Abhimanyu.
Abhimanyu. So Abhimanyu married. Abhimanyu was also married. So who was the wife of Arjun? Sorry,
Uttara.
wife of Abhimanyu?
Uttara.
Uttara.
Uttara. So Uttara was also impregnated by Abhimanyu at that time. So Subhadra was Uttara was pregnant. Anyone knows who's the son of Abhimanyu?
Parikshit.
Parikshit, Maharaj Parikshit. So she was impregnated and the child was Maharaj Parikshit. So Putran, similarly, Duryodhan also had sons and he also had grandsons. That's why it is Putran Pautran. That was the age. I mean, we cannot judge the age by today's yoga because they have a different age limits at that time. So they were of the age where they had sons and grandsons also. So they were fighting. Everyone was fighting. So you can imagine the family you know kind of gathering which was there. So you have grandfathers, great grandfathers, you have sons, you have grandsons. Everyone was there. If you imagine the scene, it is just mind-boggling. How many people and all relatives. Sakhims tatha. So who is a sakha? Sakha or suhradas? Suhrad. We had discussed this last time. Who is a sakha or suhrad? So Kalpesh says from here, sakha is well-wisher. And who's suhrad?
Close to the heart.
Sorry?
Friend, very close.
Yeah. So it is same. Sakha and Suhrad are synonyms.
Yeah.
Synonyms or samanarthi, as we say. They are synonyms. So Sakha or Suhrad. So what are the different types of friends we had discussed last time? We had Mitra, we had Bandhu, we had Sakha, which is the topmost. Sakha or Suhrad is the well-wisher. Mitra and Bandhu are official and social friends, whereas Sakha is the best. Suhrad is the best, and that we choose. How would you say someone is your Sakha or Suhrad? The one whom you open your heart to. Okay, that means you have the trust that if I open my heart to this person, he will not abuse it. That is Suhrad or Sakha. If he does that, you take it off from the list. That's what the general tendency is, right? That's what we do. So Suhrad is that one who is your most closest or your well-wisher whom you trust. So those friends and well-wishers he could see on the opposite side. Yeah. Who were they? One of them, very close to Arjun, on the opposite side.
His
On his
uncle,
his uncle. Who was his uncle?
uh, not Shal.
Oh, Shale we discussed. Shale is already. This is of his age level. So there was one who was the son of Dronacharya,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Ashwathama.
Ashwatthama.
They were very good friends, though they were like competitors of each other, being in the Gurukul. So they wanted to be one on top of the other, but I mean in terms of skills, but they were very good friends. It happens, right? When we have a competitor, you become very good friends with that person because if you feel that he's my competitor, so I should be with him so that I get someone to compete. So Ashwathama was like that. They were very close friends. Similarly, there were others also who were like Kritavarma. He was also his friend. So they were all friends, well wishers. On his side, he had Krishna, who was also his friend, who was a Sakha, who was a Suhrad. So Swashuran Suhradaschaiva Senayoru Bhayorapi. So he could see everything of this. But where? Where did he see all these people? Where was he seeing all these people? Senayoru Bhayorapi. In the army, within the armies, military, for battle, to fight. That is what he was seeing. Yeah? See the impact of this on Arjun. Yeah. So someone tried this, that just to get the experience or putting our foot into Arjun's shoes. Someone tried this. They told that you go and bring the pictures of your relatives. Just and then they brought the pictures of the relatives in a group, and they said you stick it on the on the board, the soft board. So they stick it on a soft board, and then the person gave them darts. You know what are darts? The one with a needle. He said you try to hit them with the darts. All your relatives. Choose the best one and hit him. Just the pictures, huh? They couldn't do that. They couldn't do that. Said they're my father. He's my father. He's my mother. He's my uncle. He's my cousin. He's my this. He's my that. He's all that. I can't hit darts on his picture. So you imagine. Just imagine of the sight. You have these relatives, well-wishers, friends in front of you, and you have to literally shoot arrows and kill them till they are dead. That was Arjun's plight. So he was doing all this. He was seeing that. So that is 1.26. He was Pasha. He was looking at this. He was seeing this sight, and the idea was to fight them, kill them. We'll read 1.27 now. I'll share my screen. Everyone can see? Tan Samiksha
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 Sa
Sa
Kaunteyah
Kaunteyah
Sarvan
Sarvan
Bandhun
Bandhun
Avasthitan
Avasthitan
Kripaya
Prepare
Kripaya
Parayavishto
Parayavishto
Vishidan
Vishi
Vishidan
Idam
Idam
Abravit
Abravit
Tan Samikshya Sakonteyah
Tan Samikshya Sakonteyah
Sarvan Bandhunavasthitan
Sarvan Bandhunavasthitan
Kripaya Parayavisto
Prepare
Kripaya Parayavishto
Vishidanidam Abravit
Vishi
Vishidan Idam Abravit
Tan Samikshya Sakonteyah
Tan Samikshya Sakonteyah
Sarvan Bandhunavasthitan
Sarvan Bandhunavasthitan
Kripaya Parayavisto
Prepare
Kripaya Parayavishto
Vishidanidam Abravit
Vishi
Vishidanidam Abravit
Tan Samikshyasya Kaunteyah
Tan Samikshasya Kaunteyah
Sarvan Bandhunavasthitan
Sarvan Bandhunavasthitan
Kripaya Parayavisto
Kripaya Parayavishto
Vishidanidam Abravit.
Vishi
Vishidan Idam Abravit
When the son of Kunti, Arjun, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. So, this is the fifth occurrence of word see, samikshasya, after seeing. Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So, this is the actual fifth one. Agreed, everyone?
Yes.
So, how many repetitions you see you have? Seeing, 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 seeing. So, this is the fifth occurrence of Arjun seeing, requesting to see, 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 see. Now, here he's seeing them. Now, when a sense, any sense of our body, experiences something, what is developed? Very nice. Who said that? Kalpesh. Kalpesh said something. Can anyone else say that? He answered it correctly. When any of our bodily gross, how many gross senses do we have?
5.
Five.
Right.
What are those gross senses?
Hearing,
Yes,
Seeing,
yes.
smell, taste,
Fifth one, touch.
touch.
touch,
touch.
Okay. So any of these five senses, when they experience when they come in contact with a sense object, what happens? What is the effect?
an emotion is developed.
That is correct. But what is before the emotion?
Reaction
No.
Okay. I'm
If
looking for a
feeling,
particular bird,
Feeling,
a particular word. Looking for a particular word. Kalpesh has already answered it correctly, actually.
We cannot hear him.
Yeah, we could
Yeah,
hear
which
him.
is good, isn't it?
Yes.
Happiness
Yes.
in disguise. Yeah, good.
A- Anxious?
Sorry. Put. Oh, okay, okay. I will. Speaker. No, I'm putting the earphones. So you know what I mean? Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Yes. Did someone say something? Sorry, missed it.
I said person become anxious,
Okay.
anxiousness arises.
That is, yeah. But what develops? Okay, I'll put the question again. So when the sense, gross sense, comes in contact with a sense object, what develops?
Connection.
Connection. Not necessarily, right? Like I don't like to eat Karela. So when I come in contact, my tongue comes in contact with the Karela, the connection does not develop. Sorry. Just to answer you, But I like rasgullas. So when my tongue comes in contact with the rasgulla, connection instantly develops. So connection is, it depends on the
Is it a memory?
sense object. What what
Memory.
develops?
Is it a memory?
Sorry,
A memory or
memory. Memory is in the mind.
yeah,
So uh, it's not something which develops at that time. Memory is, it is
after.
stored. It
Okay.
is stored based on the experience.
Yeah.
So the same example. Now, if I put Karela, the connection did not develop, but the memory stays that it
Yeah.
is not good
Not-
for me, not for everyone. So next time when I see Karela and Gulab and Rasgulla, so I know what to pick based on the memory. Does it make sense?
yes.
Yeah. So that does not develop. Memory actually is an experience.
Yeah.
So what develops? Okay. So I'll answer what Kalpesh said correctly. It's the perception which develops. So you perceive based on the senses. And perception then in turn shapes the emotions. Does it make sense? I'll give you an example so that you understand how a perception develops, how a perception shapes the emotions. Emotions are what? Like anger, upset, happy, sad. These are all emotions. Okay. These are the after effect from the perception. Is it going a little deeper or are you able to understand this? Yeah. I'll give you an example which will make it clearer. So for example, you're perceiving, this is the perception to emotion. Suppose, imagine you're sitting in your college canteen. hmm, Everybody would have experienced this, or school canteen or college canteen. You're sitting there, and I recollect that generally the canteens, these snacks are very nicely prepared, very tasty. There's certain things which you like the most. You imagine that one. For me, it was the samosas. I used to like the samosas from my canteen. So imagine if you are sitting there and you have ordered the samosa and the weather is very good. It's a canteen which is an outdoor setting, then lovely breeze and very nice, pleasant weather, and you're just waiting for your favorite snack to come with a nice drink to have and then have it. Now you start with that and it's arrived, it's smelling very nice. You're you're connected with the dish and you are starting to eat, and that is your state, you know. Now your perception develops as soon as the object comes in, sense object, that it will be very tasty and I'll be happy after eating that. Yeah. Now perception. Now this is your first sight and your sense object, tongue. Okay. So you're developing the perception that I will enjoy this. Now at that point, one friend of yours comes and whispers in your ear that the exams results are out and they are on the notice board, and unfortunately you have failed in all the subjects. Now this is another sense object in contact with another, sorry, senses, that is ears, in contact with another sense object, which is your friend's voice, with a news. Now what is the perception with that samosa? Will that be still tasty in your mind? You may not have that, right? You may eat it, but mechanically it may not taste. Even if you have the rasgulla at that time, it may taste like Karela. So the perception, the perception, it builds the emotions. So you were happy, but now you are sad. Does it make sense? So perception shapes the emotions tremendously. So Arjun was having the same kind of a feeling, which is the perception after seeing. So ideally, when there is a family get together, it's a party time, right? Now we are coming into the new year. If the family comes up, we are meeting together, it's joyous. But why they have met? To kill each other. So the perception, that is to meet and be joyous, has changed completely to sadness. And that is why now, if you see the verse further, we will just go on that. So tan samikshasya sakonteya. So as soon as he sees, what he sees, sarvan bandhun avasthitan, that he sees all his relatives, all the bandhuns, relatives, avasthitan, situated. Where they are situated? In the midst of the army, ready to fight, situated there, avasthitan. What happens then? What is the perception developing into kripaya paraya vishto? Highest grade of compassion. That is the perception. And that is shaping what? What is the emotion which is shaping into? Lamentation. Vishidan idam abravit. So that's what happens from the perception of compassion to the emotion of Vishidan idam abravit. That is, he laments. He starts lamenting. Everyone knows what is lamenting? What is lamenting? So perception you understood now? Yeah, perception, what was the perception he developed? It was compassion. The perception was compassion. And out of compassion, what developed? What was the what was shaped out of it? What
Lam-
emotion was shaped?
Lamentation.
Lamentation. So what is lamentation?
Kind of a sorrowful or regretful feeling.
So what would you call it in Sanskrit or Hindi?
Duk.
which
I won't call it duk, but
It is called shoka.
show.
sure.
Okay. So there is a difference in all these words. Shoka is different than dukkha.
Yeah,
It's not grief, but sort of, yeah,
it's a
it's,
sorrow.
yeah,
So
so
we'll try to understand what is shoka first, and we will also understand how to get rid of this shoka. So we'll do this today, and then we will discuss in detail next week. But what is shoka? So we'll try to understand that first. Let's contemplate on shoka. What is lamentation? English or Sanskrit, whatever you understand, Hindi, whichever language you're comfortable with, to explain what is shoka or lamentation. Kalpesh is saying paschatap. Is it relevant or is it similar?
It's Paschatap.
Paschatap is not exact word, because paschatap is you do something and then afterwards you lament,
Yeah.
or you feel bad about it.
Correct.
Shok is maybe a grieving process.
Grieving. Yes, you're closer. Who said that?
Vikas.
Vikas. Okay, I think I see. I think your name doesn't appear there, but I can see you as fellow Jitster. Yes. Yeah. Correct, Vikas. Yes. So you're closer. Yes. Grieving. Yes. So action wise, how would you practically understand it? You're
La-
very close. Yeah.
Crying,
Sorry. Huh?
crying,
Very nice. So
crying.
what is crying?
you have to do something, but you don't want to do it.
Ah, very nice. So you are, because of that grief. Yeah, because of that grief, you are trying to do something. That is lamentation. That is shoka. You may cry. You may cry, or you may do something else. That, so almost doing that action, at the verge of doing that action, is that point of shoka, at grieving. The when does this generally? So generally, our life is full of this hankering and lamentation. What is hankering? Hankering means always desiring for something, like that I should have this, I should have that, I should have this, I should have that. And when you don't get it, then you lament. Arey yaar, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. If I would have done this, I would have got that. That grief which you, so if you contemplate on that, what you don't have, that turns into lamentation. Generally. Generally we contemplate. Sometimes, it just brings a dark hole. And if it happens in the night, you may lose your sleep. Oh, I didn't do this, I should have done that, and I should have got this done. Lamenting. The lamenting, actually, it takes you into a deep hole. The thoughts keep on getting connected, and that might cause you physical or emotional distress. So lamenting is bad, and that's where Arjun is going to. But Krishna will help him come out of that. So lamenting is the process which is just after the grief. So grief strucken, once the grief struck in, because of the perception. Yeah. Because of the perception, the grief struck in, the emotions, the next emotion, we almost about to cry, or be, give up everything, all those kind of things. Action which we are about to perform is the lamentation stage. So if you see the verse, everybody is able to get to the verse. What is the last word? It says, while lamenting, idam abravid. So he's about to speak. After lamentation, he's about to speak. So he's in the stage of being lamenting, and then he's about to speak. Now we'll discuss about the next bit. That is, what is he about to speak? That will go there. But before that, how do we come out of this lamentation? There is a very nice verse in Bhagavad Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll share that verse with you. So I'll share my screen. Okay. Please repeat after me. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, Verse 7. Yasyam
Yes. Yeah.
Yasyam
Vai
Vai
Shruya
Shuya
Manayam
Marayam
Pranayam.
Krishne
Krishne
Krishna.
Parama
Parama
Parama.
Purushe
Purushe
Purushe.
Bhaktir
Bhakti
Bhakti.
Utpad
Utpad
Utpat.
yate
यते
यते
pumsaha
पुंसः
पुंसः
shoka
शोक
शोक
moha
मोह
मोह
bhaya
भय
भय
apaha.
अपः
अपः
So we'll do a little faster now. Yasyam vai shruyamānāyām
यस्यां
यस्यां वै श्रूयमाणायां
श्रूयमाणायां
Krishne Paramapurushe
कृष्णे
कृष्णे
परमपुरुषे
परमपुरुषे
Bhaktir Utpadhyate Pumshaha
भक्तिरुत्पद्यते पुंसः
भक्तिर्बुद्ध्यते
Shokamoha Bhayapaha
शोकमोहभयापः
शोकमोहभयापः
Yasyam vai shruyamānāyām
यस्यां
यस्यां वै श्रूयमाणायां
श्रूयमाणायां
Krishne Paramapurushe
कृष्णे
कृष्णे परमपुरुषे
परमपुरुषे
Bhaktir Utpadhyate Pumsaha
भक्तिरुत्पद्यते
भक्तिरुत्पद्यते
पुंसः
पुंसः
Shokamoha Bhayapaha.
शोकमोहभयापः
शोकमोहभयापः
Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, that is Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, the of the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. So, what is lamentation? Shoka. What is illusion?
Moh.
Moha. What is fear?
Bhaya.
Bhaya. So, if you see the lifestyle of animals, it is based on fear. So, if you see a dog sleeping, you just go very soft step, he will wake up. You make a clapping sound, the pigeons will fly. Their life is the living of fear. Somebody will kill them, somebody will harm them. That's how the animals live. Human life is hankering and lamentation. And devatas or demigods who are on the higher planets, their life is more of a illusion or moha, because they don't want to give up that luxury if they are on the higher planets and enjoying the fruits, although they have to take birth again and die. So shoka, moha, bhaya, three different types of lifestyles. They are based on these three different aspects. All these three can be eliminated simply by hearing Krishna Katha carefully. That is the meaning of this verse. So, what will happen now? Krishna will start speaking to Arjun because he is already started lamenting. So, now after Arjun speaks, Abravit, that he says something after his perception shaping into the emotion of lamentation, he'll start speaking, and then Krishna will try to help him come out of that lamentation by his katha. Simply by oral reception, Arjun, just by hearing, Arjun will come out of the lamentation by the end of Bhagavad Gita, not so soon. Although Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Sri Krishna, the dialogue and Arjun, that happened only for 45 minutes. But for us, it will take some more time, fortunately, to go through the whole 18 chapters. Yeah. So we'll end our discussion here, but I'm open for any questions or answers. Yes, Rishi.
So there was mention of shoka and dukkha. What is the difference?
Okay. So dukkha is the feeling. you have inside. But shoka is on the when you are on the verge of doing something out of that dukkha.
So dukkha is the compassion, like the perception, is it?
Dukkha is not compassion. Compassion is different. What is compassion? The word given there in the shloka? Anyone? Krupaya.
Kripaya.
Krupa.
Kripa.
So krupa is compassion.
Okay. Okay.
You feel compassion, right? Say for example, if it is like some animal being hurt, you feel compassion. If some wrongdoing happens to someone, you feel compassion. So kripaya, that is compassion.
Okay.
Any other question or comment?
Yes, Prabhuji, if you can please explain it everything again. I'm so sorry.
Everything again.
Yeah, yeah. This lamentation and shok and dukh and everything.
So
I'm
shoka
listening,
and
but yeah,
shoka
but
and dukkha.
yeah.
I would give someone from the group who has understood this nicely. If you want to volunteer, answer Mataji's question. Anyone? Abhijit, would you like to give it a try?
Mm,
Shoka and dukkha is what Mataji wants to know. Understand what is shoka and dukkha.
Shok, as explained or discussed over here, we discussed that shok is the process of grieving, or means the emotion which comes to the person is he feels bad about some situation, and he goes into such a situation that without realizing or without wanting to, he starts crying or expressing his grief. So that is shok. And dukkha, according to me, I think dukkha is the sprout of shok. I mean, when I feel bad or I feel very low, I will start grieving, and then afterwards I will start, or I will cry. This is in short I can explain.
Nice, nice. Anyone would like to add something?
So it means that dukh means like desires more on desire part. Like when we desire something and we don't get it, so then it creates the dukh, and then dukh with the dukh we get in shok.
Would you like to continue with that, Abhijit, answering that?
Uh, it's not exactly desire. It is the compassion, or you feel bad about some situation, like we just discussed in the end. If we are seeing somebody getting hurt or somebody getting stuck in a situation, we feel bad about it. But then we we don't have the desire of, we can't call it as a desire. So it is the compassion which exactly leads to the dukh, or
So the
the
word would be feeling, if I'm not wrong,
feeling,
correct? Yeah.
feeling, right,
So it's not a
right,
desire, but it's a feeling.
feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Desire, yeah. I think Mataji was saying we have a desire of achieving something, and then we don't get it, and then there is the sorrow which we feel, or the dukh, or the compassion. That is different from this particular verse, I suppose.
This verse, yes. But lamentation, do the shoka might arise from desire, but dukkha, like if
Okay.
I say dukkha might arise before lamentation,
Yeah,
Yeah,
dukkha is
yeah.
the
before
sprout
shoka.
of lamentation, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
It is a
So,
sprout.
so we
And
can, if we have to start with the desire, so we desired for something, so we'll go by step. So desire, that is,
sir, example,
yeah, sure.
I wanted to pass out of the graduation with first class. So that is my desire. I could not do it, so that is the start of my dukh. And then if I keep on crying on that I could not do it without going ahead in life, then that is lamentation.
Very nice, Abhijit. Understood very nicely. Did it answer your question, Mataji?
Yes, of course, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Abhijit,
Thank you.
Prabhuji. I also thanks
Thank you.
Abhijit that
Thank
you
you. Thank
gave
you.
me the right example. But then at the same point, I will say that it means that we that in that example you said that desire was there and that we couldn't fulfill. So we, the situation didn't allow us to fulfill that, and then that created the dukh, and then we couldn't. Then that way we crying, that is lamentation. And the other part you're telling that with the compassion, where is the compassion, which is like we that are feeling, we feel sorrow about something or somebody, where we feel they're facing some problems, and that is kripa, compassion, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, correct. Correctly put, Mataji. Very nice.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just a small one.
Yes.
You said something about the demigods. They have to come down and take a human form, and they have to die eventually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, could you just say something about
Yeah.
that?
Okay. So to understand the demigods, so demigods are not spiritual. So if we understand, demigods are also material. They have the same body as us, not identical, but the body which will perish. Although for a longer duration they are allowed to live. So we also, if we do pious activities, that is good karma, we can also become demigods. That is the understanding. That will be explained in Bhagavad Gita later in Karma Yoga. That if you do good karma, you may get a good body, even the body of a demigod, which will be for a longer duration, and it will have all the kind of, you will get all the kind of luxuries. So for example, Indra is not a person, it's a position. So Indra has a position. Indra is a position. So if someone tries to reach that position, Indra starts getting that, whoever is on that position, he starts getting fearful. So that is moha, because he is too much attached to his position. So it is not just the demigods, there are people also who are attached to the positions in this Mrityu Loka as well. So that is Indra Loka, but here also like that. So that is the demigods, just on the higher planets with higher luxuries. Did it answer a question, Smita?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. Okay. Very briefly, but we will go in detail later in Bhagavad Gita. Any other questions or comments? Okay. So if no, we'll end our session here, and we'll catch up again on next Sunday. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.